Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 origin continent based on novel. So let's start. Luo Feng brought Morosa to the Zhu clan's cave mansion. After all, they were both in the Primal Chaos armor sector, so the distance was close. As expected of the Zhu clan, just the cost of this formation alone is quite high, Luo Feng said, looking at the grand formation in operation. The power of the formation was the strongest he had seen within Huyang City. With such a terrifying formation, Assassin Yinkang wouldn't be able to kill his way inside. After more than 2 decades of cultivation, Luo Feng had made significant advancements, yet even so, he might have hopes of tearing through the formation and killing his way in only by burning divine power. Nearly all the core members of my Zhu clan live here. We can't afford to be careless, Zhu Yu explained with a smile as he accompanied Luo Feng. For this formation, my Zhu clan also exhausted a great amount of karmic luck. Luo Feng nodded. Unlike the 5 great families, which were only branches, the Zhu clan was rooted here, so naturally, they fortified their cave mansion as impregnable as a fortress. Soon, Luo Feng saw a thin old man with green secret patterns on his skin. The old man looked at Luo Feng with a smile. Lord Luo He. Patriarch Zhu Hu, Luo Feng said courteously. In terms of renown within Huyang City, Patriarch Zhu Hu was on par with Mo Li Xiao and Divine Monarch Shui Yun. Please, Patriarch Zhu Hu led the way into a small building. Zhu Hu, Zhu Yu, and Luo Feng each took their seats, as exquisite food and fine wine were served. It is only today that I have the opportunity to meet with Lord Luo He, Patriarch Zhu Hu said, looking at Luo Feng with admiration. Although the god has not been in Huyang City for long, his fame is now the greatest in the city. That's just an empty reputation, Luo Feng remarked. Lord Wei, you flatter me, Patriarch Zhu Hu gestured, and a green jade vial flew towards Luo Feng, landing on the table in front of him. 2 million cosmic sands, God, you can verify. Luo Feng checked it with his divine power and indeed, it was exactly 2 million cosmic sands, not a grain less. This made Luo Feng inwardly marvel at the strength of the native forces represented by the Zhu family, so easily parting with such a massive amount of wealth. This is the Sword of the World's Core. Luo Feng handed over the mechanical stream secret treasure, Sword of the World's Core, to Patriarch Zhu Hu. Patriarch Zhu Hu briefly checked it before storing it away. With the transaction complete, the atmosphere became even more congenial. After they had eaten and drunk their fill, Luo Feng took his leave from Patriarch Zhu Hu, with Zhu Yu personally seeing him out. There's no need to see me out. Outside the main entrance of the Zhu clan's cave mansion, Luo Feng, accompanied by Morosa, piloted the flying boat and left. Patriarch Zhu Hu stood in front of the small building, watching the flying boat disappear into the distance. A gentle-looking woman appeared beside him. Lord Wei, here's your Sword of the World's Core. Patriarch Zhu Hu handed the sword to the woman. Lord Wei, have you been able to discern anything real about this Lord Luo He from your secret observations? He gives me a very unique feeling, the gentle woman said with interest. I left the royal capital to travel around the cities of Sha Kingdom, and I feel that this Lord Luo He is the most stunning person I've ever seen. Patriarch Zhu Hu was surprised. The most stunning person? It's just a feeling, the gentle woman immediately replied. I bothered Patriarch Zhu Hu for this transaction. Now that I have acquired the Sword of the World's Core, I shall take my leave. It's but a trivial matter. Patriarch Zhu Hu was still very eager to help. In terms of power, he was no less than Lord Wei. But with Lord Wei's vastly superior background compared to the 5 great families, he naturally had to treat her well. In the following days, Luo Feng sold off some of the spoils of war he had acquired to various trade associations within Huyang City, exchanging them all for cosmic sands. I now have 3.3 million cosmic sands, and the estimated cost for 3 body refinement sessions is 3.6 million cosmic sands worth of materials. Plus some additional losses during refinement, I should prepare a bit more, Luo Feng thought, still short of over 300,000 cosmic sands. What should I do? He was reluctant to sell the 2 mechanical stream secret treasures, the Life Blood River and the Myriad Realms Escape Command, just yet. He also had some eternal true god level armor, weapons, exotic beast materials, and so on, which altogether were worth about 30 to 400,000 cosmic sands. He had more than half of the blood of Yi beast left, which was also worth 500 to 600,000 cosmic sands. But Luo Feng didn't particularly want to sell that either. Short of over 300,000 cosmic sands, I'll just take on another bounty mission, Luo Feng nodded lightly. It's been so long since I've made a move, I'm afraid it won't deter those ferocious characters. Choose one that deserves to be killed. Luo Feng began scouring the Flame Wind Association's dark hall for assassination tasks, choosing carefully. Suddenly, Brother Luo He, you must hurry to the Heavenly Flame Sect, Mo Li Meng transmitted to Luo Feng. What happened to the Heavenly Flame Sect? Luo Feng was puzzled. The Heavenly Flame Sect was the artifact refining sect created by his good friend Shang Qianyang. Sha Kingdom's forces have captured several formation masters, and it's very likely they will also capture Shang Qianyang, Mo Li Meng transmitted. Luo Feng's heart tightened. Over these past 2 decades, Brother Shang had been forthcoming with all the enigmas of body refinement he faced. And through their interactions over so long, Shang Qianyang had become his only good friend in Huyang City. As for Black Butcher, Mo Yuhu, and others, the relationships weren't as equal, so naturally, they were some distance from good friends. Qingyang, you stay and guard the cave mansion, Luo Feng instructed, then took Morosa with him on the flying boat, quickly leaving the cave mansion. What's going on? Moyu Qingyang looked on from afar. The master seems a bit anxious. Heavenly Flame Sect. Brother Luo He. Shang Qianyang approached with his imposing figure to greet Luo Feng and Morosa as they emerged from the flying boat. Mo Li Meng has contacted me and said you were in danger. Luo Feng said. Shang Qianyang shook his head. Just tonight, within Huyang City, 8 formation masters were captured at the same time by a mysterious force. All of these formation masters are eternal true gods, and none could resist. Captured at the same time. Luo Feng was surprised. It was not easy to capture an eternal true god alive. To do so simultaneously, dividing forces across 8 routes with each one succeeding in capturing an eternal true god, indicated a very powerful entity. Yes, most of these 8 formation masters were in their own cave mansions. Shang Qianyang nodded. They were all captured alive and taken away, and the city owner's mansion can't even track their whereabouts. With this kind of strength and the will to act in such a way, it must be the Sha Kingdom's forces. Why did they capture them? Luo Feng pressed for answers. S.E.A. The novel, F.I.NT website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Shang Qianyang replied, the formation of the entire city of Huyang City is vast, formed by a perfect combination of numerous arrays, and many formation masters have repaired it over the long years. There were 9 who did the repairs and still lived within Huyang City. Tonight, 8 were captured. I am the last one. They captured 8 and let me go. Shang Qianyang shook his head. The city owner's mansion might even suspect that I am colluding with the Sha Kingdom's forces. Luo Feng understood. Those 8 formation masters, all in service to the city owner's mansion, isn't the mansion making efforts to rescue them? I have already inquired with the city owner's mansion. Shang Qianyang looked up at the night sky, sighing. Their response was that at the moment the 8 formation masters were captured, their karmic messenger orders were destroyed, preventing any lock on the whereabouts of the 8 formation masters. The city owner's mansion should have the karmic mark of these 8 formation masters, Luo Feng said. With these karmic marks, they should be able to deduce the locations of the 8 formation masters. Merely with the help of karmic marks, to deduce locations. Shang Qianyang shook his head. That's a method only the primal chaos overlord would have, isn't it? Flame Wind Pavilion can do it, Luo Feng stated. For Flame Wind Pavilion to deduce using karmic marks, it requires 1 million cosmic sand. Shang Qianyang shook his head. The city owner's mansion wouldn't be willing to do that. Based on past experiences, once taken away by the Sha Kingdom's forces, life and death are then decided by the Sha Kingdom's forces. Luo Feng nodded slightly. That's why one must not get involved in their struggles. Getting involved means you could be crushed at any moment, Zhong Qianyang shook his head, but those of us adept in formations were ordered by the city owner's mansion to repair some of the damaged formations. We have no right to refuse. Zhong Qianyang looked at Luo Feng. I have no collusion with the Sha Kingdom, and by not capturing me this time, I guess, they do not want to offend you. Of the 9, only I was spared, said Zhong Qianyang. Those 8 who were captured were all my good friends. We often discussed formations together. I don't know if they will survive this time. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Inside a secret treasure space. Divine Monarch Shuiyun, Yu Qianshu, and Yu Qianyi, along with more than 10 eternal true gods, were interrogating in separate spaces. The Sha Kingdom's forces had 2 teams within Huyang City, a weaker team led by Chairman Zonyun and a stronger team under the command of Divine Monarch Shuiyun. Chairman Zonyun could only contact Divine Monarch Shuiyun and not the numerous subordinates of Divine Monarch Shuiyun. Answer obediently, and you can live. If you don't tell us, you'll have to die, and your clan will be destroyed too, threatened the eternal true gods. They had many methods of threat, which could make these formation masters neither able to live nor die as they wish. Soon, all the captured formation masters confessed. What they understood was only the tip of the iceberg when it came to the Huyang City formation. Of these 8 formation masters, 1 was already on our side, and the other 7 have now finally confessed, Divine Monarch Shuiyun said with a smile. How shall we deal with these formation masters? Yu Qianshu asked. Release 5, kill 3, Divine Monarch Shuiyun said carelessly. First, to let all sides of Huyang City know that serving the city owner's mansion leads to a bad end. Second, to show them that we, the Sha Kingdom, are merciful after all and will spare some obedient eternal true gods. Yu Qianshu furrowed his brow. We should just fulfill our task, in my opinion, kill them all. Do as I say. Divine Monarch Shuiyun glanced at Yu Qianshu and then finalized the list of the 5 to be spared, including the formation master, who had sided with them. That night, the 5 surviving formation masters were released and sent back. Inside the Heavenly Flame sect, Luo Feng and Morosa sat opposite each other, drinking. Zhong Qianyang drank his wine, looking up at the night sky, quite anxious. Suddenly, his expression changed as he took out his karmic messenger order. What happened? Asked Luo Feng. 3 of the 8 friends who were captured have just had their karmic ties suddenly severed. Zhong Qianyang looked at his karmic messenger order. With the karmic ties gone, all 3 of them are dead. They clearly had no power to resist, yet the Sha Kingdom's forces still killed them. At the city owner's mansion, 5 incarnations of divine power had assembled and seated themselves. To capture 8 formation masters alive at the same time, the forces of Sha Kingdom must have dispatched a group of top eternal true gods, said Mo Li Xiao. According to the 5 surviving formation masters, the Sha Kingdom's forces are investigating all information pertaining to the Huyang City formation map. The formation masters are only responsible for repairing very small areas. They know little about the complete formation map, stated the Lord of Huyang City. Such a large commotion cannot be just for that bit of information. Wu Kulu, a figure clad in blood-colored scale armor, spoke indifferently. The formation masters know little about the complete formation map, but they are well aware of the general layout of Huyang City's formation map. Everyone present agreed. Like Zhong Qianyang and other formation masters, who could repair small areas of the formation, their mastery of formations was profound, from a point to extrapolating the whole face. They would have a general guess about the layout of the entire Huyang City formation map. They must have plans for the grand formation of Huyang City, declared the leader of the Meiwu clan solemnly. Shuiyun is very restrained. It's been a long time since they made such a big move, said Mo Li Xiao. I think we can report to the Marquis and request support. Agreed. The Sha Kingdom's forces capturing the formation masters is just the beginning. Once they really show their fangs, we might not be able to hold them off. Let's report to the Marquis. Everyone agreed. They were too late to even cover up the incident of Mei Wuqi slaughtering hundreds of millions of civilians within Huyang City, so naturally, they did not dare to ask for help. Yet, in dealing with the forces of Sha Kingdom, their request for help was completely justified. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo Feng, who did not fully understand the subtle strife between the city owner's mansion and the forces of Sha Kingdom, temporarily resided in the Heavenly Flame sect. This was also a public declaration. Zhong Qianyang, I've got your back. 2 days had passed in a blink of an eye. Luo Feng was walking around inside the Heavenly Flame sect, watching the disciples refine secret treasure weapons. Supreme Moyu Liuxing, the third of the Moyu family, who was instructing juniors, spotted Luo Feng and promptly greeted him with respect. He also had a talent for artifact refining, and with sufficient resources, had already advanced to a true god of void space. Among the 3 Moyu brothers, both the eldest and the third were true gods of void space. Only Moyu Qingyang, who followed Luo Feng, was still a true god. Moyu Liuxing, Luo Feng smiled at him. I hear you've gotten married. Yes, she is a senior sister I met after joining the Heavenly Flame sect, said Moyu Liuxing, his face revealing a hint of happiness, as he spoke of his wife. It seems the Heavenly Flame sect suits you well, Luo Feng chuckled. In the land of origin, countless creatures rarely marry in their lifetimes, as they live infinitely long and have no need to reproduce. Finding a beloved one and getting married is quite rare in the land of origin. Some extremely powerful beings, with extraordinary bloodlines, reproduce offspring primarily to pass on these bloodlines. The Heavenly Flame sect is indeed a good fit for me, and our master gives us careful guidance, Moyu Liuxing remarked. Suddenly, Zhong Qianyang hurriedly approached from afar, reaching Luo Feng in just 2 steps. Brother Luo He, Zhong Qianyang said urgently. Luo Feng waved to Moyu Liuxing, who then respectfully withdrew. What's the matter? Luo Feng asked. Among the 8 formation masters who were captured earlier, 3 have been killed, Zhong Qianyang said. Their families might face some troubles after their deaths, so I'm also keeping an eye on their situations. Zhong Qianyang, who liked making friends, counted all 3 as his close friends since they all belonged to the same circle. Of these 3 families, 2 were silently devoured by Cloud Treasure Tower, which has branches in many major cities of Yu Kingdom, mainly selling mid to low-end secret treasure weapons, continued Zhong Qianyang. Branches like the one I founded, Heavenly Flame Sect, and other artifact refiners' shops are just small time. Cloud Treasure Tower, those are the major trading powers. Luo Feng listened. Selling secret treasure weapons to eternal true gods, how many could one sell in an era? Selling to true gods and true gods of void space, that's where the real profit lies. Given the incredibly large numbers, it accumulates into staggering wealth. Normally, Cloud Treasure Tower wouldn't stoop to plundering local families, but this time they did, Zhong Qianyang fumed. It must have been some eternal true gods at Cloud Treasure Tower's Huyang City branch, who coveted the assets, and swallowed up those 2 families. In front of Cloud Treasure Tower, these 2 families couldn't resist at all. In silence, all their long accumulated resources, materials, and shops were snatched away, Zhong Qianyang said angrily. That would have been manageable, but Cloud Treasure Tower is too strong. They didn't go on a killing spree, the 2 families, although completely ruined, at least kept their lives, with not many relatives killed over the disputes. But it's grim for the Chiffing family. They were targeted by the Dark Forces, the 6 Lords Alliance. Core members of the Chiffing family perished in great numbers, the vast majority of their resources were forcibly looted, and 2 children of the eternal true gods were taken to the headquarters of the 6 Lords Alliance by the Thousand-Eye Lord, explained Zhong Qianyang. It's likely to force those 2 to hand over the inheritances. Brother Luo He, Lord Chiffing is my good friend. Half of his family members have died, and I want to save his 2 children, Zhong Qianyang looked at Luo Feng. The 6 Lords Alliance won't consider my feelings, so I'm asking you, Brother Luo He, to help. Luo Feng frowned upon hearing this. The city owner's mansion just watched all this happen. Those 3 formation masters were initially brought in to repair the city's formation, which led to their dire fates. The majority of eternal true gods in Huyang City had served the city owner's mansion, and when did the city owner's mansion ever care about the lives and deaths of those eternal true gods? Zhong Qianyang shook his head. Unless you completely surrender and become a vassal, the city owner's mansion won't intervene. Leave this matter to me. Luo Feng nodded and sought towards the distance, glancing at Morosa, who was happily eating and drinking. With one look, Morosa understood. Master. Morosa immediately flew over. We're going out for a bit. Luo Feng, piloting the flying boat, took Morosa and headed straight for the headquarters of the Six Lords Alliance. There were 18 dark forces in Huyang City, of which the Six Lords Alliance was one. The headquarters of the Six Lords Alliance was perennially gloomy, with a faint mist swirling around, and many internal members were busy with their respective tasks. Inside one of the halls of the headquarters, the siblings from the Chiffing family sat there, fearfully watching the woman in the red robe in front of them. Your father is dead, and carrying treasures is not a good thing for you, it's a bad thing. The woman in the red robe sat there, softly laughing. Previously I instructed your clan to willingly transfer the family resources, and they were actually reluctant. The result of their reluctance is that most of your clan is now deceased. Now it's your turn. The woman in the red robe looked at the siblings. Lord Chiffing had only you two children. He must have arranged a way out for you, probably left some resources for you in the Flame Wind Pavilion. Do as I say, immediately contact the Flame Wind Pavilion, transfer all the resources to me. Then you can live. Otherwise, you also have to die, and if you die, everything becomes void. The woman in the red robe looked at the two fat sheep. As one of the leaders of the dark forces, she was continually hunting for fat sheep. After the death of Lord Chiffing, his two children naturally became big fat sheep. Like after Jiarong Yang's death, his daughter Jiarong Qi was also considered a fat sheep, but she had been staying in the Moli clan's cave mansion, so she avoided trouble. It's fortunate I acted quickly, otherwise, if I was a bit slower, others from the dark forces might have snatched them. The woman in the red robe, the Thousand-Eye Lord, thought to herself. At this moment, Luo Feng had already arrived at the headquarters of the Six Lords Alliance with Morosa, piloting the flying boat. Whoosh! After storing the flying boat, Luo Feng and Morosa appeared at the main entrance of the Six Lords Alliance headquarters. Master! Shall we storm in? Morosa was eager to move. Yet Luo Feng had already taken a step forward. Boom tilde tilde tilde. Without permission, trespassing into the Six Lords Alliance headquarters naturally triggered the headquarters formation's retaliation. The Samba formations might erupted and pressed down on Luo Feng, intent on tearing him apart. What's happening? Many members of the Six Lords Alliance headquarters, including the eternal true gods present, were somewhat surprised. Luo Feng, with Morosa stepping into the headquarters, naturally formed an invisible force around his body that could crush the formation's power. As they entered the headquarters, Luo Feng instantly locked onto the Thousand-Eye Lord and also spotted the siblings from the Chiffing family next to the woman in the red robe Thousand-Eye Lord. Shong Qianyang had naturally provided Luo Feng with information about this pair of siblings beforehand. Lord Luo He, the Lord Bai Wu of the Six Lords Alliance, called out from a distance. Boom. Search * the novel, F.I.nt website on Google to access chapters of novels early and in the highest quality. Luo Feng took a step, and along with Morosa, thundered through numerous obstacles, breaking through building walls, and directly arrived inside the hall, appearing in front of the Thousand-Eye Lord. The Thousand-Eye Lord was shocked to see Luo Feng and the broken building stones around her, and even managed a smile as she greeted, Thousand-Eye has seen Lord Luo He. Lord Luo He. The other two eternal true gods inside the headquarters, Lord Bai Wu and Captive Wind Lord, quickly flew over, very polite and humble, not daring to offend in the slightest. Luo Feng looked at the woman in the red robe. Thousand-Eye Lord, is it you who acted against the Chiffing family? The woman in the red robe instantly made a guess and spoke hastily. I was protecting the two children of Lord Chiffing. It wasn't me who killed those members of the Chiffing family. It was her who killed them. In the corner of the hall, one of the siblings, the elder brother, despite being terrified, still gritted his teeth and shouted out those words. The woman in the red robe looked at the siblings in shock and anger. Lord Luo He, the woman in the red robe was about to defend herself when she saw that Lord Luo He in front of her had already reached out. She didn't hesitate further, instantly manifested her true body in an attempt to save her life. A huge twisted entity appeared, its surface dotted with eerie eyes. Indeed, she had over 1,000 eyes, capable of damaging an enemy's soul. Spurt tilde tilde tilde. What seemed like an ordinary stretch of Luo Feng's hand pierced through that massive entity, crushing a true god's heart. Only the twisted manifestation of the true god's body fell apart, and with a wave of his hand, Luo Feng collected the corpse. Seeing this scene, both Lord Bai Wu and captive Wind Lord were somewhat stunned. Although the Thousand-Eye Lord wasn't as powerful as the Blood Python Association leader, she was still an extremely formidable eternal true god. But she had no chance to resist in front of Lord Luo He. Do the numerous deaths within the Chiffing family have anything to do with you too? Luo Feng looked at them. Lord Bai Wu and captive Wind Lord hastily shook their heads. They knew a wrong answer might mean their own deaths. This video will end here.